Man, we got a nice breakfast. We got some eggs with some egg yolks and egg whites. Got some English muffins. Got the water bottle. Gotta drink that shit. You gotta eat, man. You gotta eat to get big, guy. Hey, what's up, guys? It's now Thursday. Thumbs up for the one video a day shit. I'm just joking. I don't need thumbs up. But anyways, um, so I figured today I'll talk about a few Slayer tips. My Slayer Day video. A lot of people have been asking me a lot of tips on it. Number one tip, guys, is a lot of people stretch this out a little bit too much, I think, and it really doesn't make that much of a difference. I'll admit, with my main account, I got 50 mil Slayer with, well, 20 mil Slayer with just super attack potions and Dragon Battle Axe and no familiars and shit. But from 20 or 15 mil Slayer to 50 mil, 55 mil Slayer, I used nothing but extreme potions, and I did not notice a single difference when I switched to overloads. Just so everyone stops like asking, like, oh my god, I gotta make overloads, but it's so expensive, but I want to slay properly. You don't need overloads, guys, for Slayer at all. You never will. The only time you might want an overload is if you have Dagonoths, Bloodvelds, Calphites, anything with like where your cannon does a lot of fucking work. Aberrant Specters. You might want to overload for those tasks. If you don't have an overload, just bring an extreme range potion. It works just as well. Because that's the whole point of overloading while you're slaying. It brings your range up over 99 or whatever your level is, and you hit a little more accurate. So that's like the number one tip I could give anyone. Don't waste your time. Like the only time you really want overloads is if you're going for 99 herblore. If you're already 99 and you're thinking I'm gonna make overloads just for Slayer, it's completely not worth it. Just make extremes way cheaper, and you'll have more money to do something else with. And like it's honestly, I don't notice any difference. Sometimes when you're like, if I'm like 120 or 99 attack and strength, and then my stats are like 120ish right now after I extreme, I sometimes hit really high when I'm 120 instead of 125. I don't know what's wrong with that. I think it's a glitch or it's just the way it is, but I've always noticed that when it's not even at max, I still hit really high. Like I'll hit like 590s when it's like at 120. I hardly even hit 600s when I'm at 125 out of 99. So it's like, I don't know. It's Jags, right? So that's the number one tip. Number two tip is, should I slay even though I don't have a cannon? Now this is a huge problem. I would say don't slay if you don't have a cannon at this point. Go make the money for it. Go keepers, uh, leechers and shit. Because the cannon is really what makes Slayer a skill. If you're not going to do any kind of cannoning, it's really going to be just boring and slow, and it's going to be horrible. It's going to be really, really boring. If you have 99 summoning, Steel Titan in most cases can replace a cannon. Only in some cases. One thing I would know is Black Demons. If you got those, go to the Chaos Tunnel. I think you need like 74 Dungeoneering. And you can just use Steel Titan there. It's maybe tiny bit slower. I remember my Black Demon guide for slaying them. It's hardly even slower, and you don't have to use a cannon. Steel Titan scrolls are like 500 each. You maybe use like 200 in a task, so it's only 100k. You'll probably make that back just from the drops anyway, so it's all good. Or you can just collect the ashes if you really want, if you're not going to be using a cannon. I don't know. I guess you could actually do that. You could collect the urns or the ashes and bank them, but that's really, really annoying. Um, Tips on money making while slaying? I would say always do blue dragons if you are doing them in Kurdel's dungeon. What I used to do is I used to bring my ferocious ring. I used to equip that, and I used to have a house teleport tab in my inventory. I used to also bring a yak and scrolls. You can do this with a tortoise or even a terrorbird or I don't know, bull ant. Um, Definitely teleport to the Kurdel's dungeon. If you don't have that, unlock the fairy code BJQ, I think it's called, and it brings you right outside where the water fiends are. If you guys know what I'm talking about. I think you need to use 5 mushroom things on the fairy ring before you can actually use it, but that's like 1k. I'll show that maybe in the future, just so you guys, if you guys don't have enough ferocious rings to waste to keep teleporting back and forth. But yeah, use the ferocious ring, teleport to the blue dragons. Well, run to the blue dragons, and yeah, just start killing them and banking the bones and the hides. Because those are really expensive now. It's probably about, I don't know, it's about 8k per kill now. Blue hides are 3k, dragon bones are almost 5k. So that's 8k a kill. If you got 150 of them, you just made, what is that, freaking 1.2 mil? Yeah, 1.2 mil you just made, and that can pay for almost 3,000 cannonballs. So that's a huge amount of cannonballs. That can do for almost 2-3 Slayer tats of just pure cannon, like 2 Dagonoth tats right there. If you got black dragons, exactly the same thing. Go to that layer thingy, whatever, the chicken layer, and kill them there and bank them. I would suggest not banking them in that actual area unless you're gonna. I don't know. I would just say bring a dual ring or something, and yeah. And with the blue dragons, I only run house teleport tab because when I ran to my house, I recharged my prayer. I would bring 2 to 3 prayer potions each inventory, one extreme attack, one extreme defense, one super anti-fire, and I'd be good to go for whole inventory. And a couple spec restores as well with the declaws, because that kind of speeds it up. But blue dragons you one hit a lot, so it's not really much of a difference. Um, what's the other tip? The other tip, I guess I can tell you guys what I cancel. I've already said this in my old video, but whatever. Tasks that I have perm blocked always. Gonna be spiritual mages. I've got both the strike worm tasks perm blocked, except for the ice strikes, because those are really good effigies. They are really boring to do, I'll admit, but the effigy rate for them is amazing, and they just shut out effigies for you. So I'd recommend doing them. But if you're really bored, then I guess don't. That's another thing. With Slayer, never, if you have enough points, don't bore yourself with all those tasks. Like, even though it's recommended to do them, if you're not in the mood to do it, don't do the task, because it's going to be a really miserable 1 hour for you doing that task. If you hate the task, just skip it. There's no reason to be mad over what Slayer task you have, or mad to be over a game even. So just skip that task and just go to the next one. Next will be what to bring for a spec weapon. I personally bring declaws all the time. If you have dragons, fucking wrong. If you have dragons, I think it actually might be worth to bring the Karasi instead, because it hits really high on anything. It's magic based and shit. And what I've heard now actually is that new polypore staff, whatever you want to call it, it's really, really amazing against steels and iron dragons. Mostly steel dragons, because iron dragons are pretty easy anyways with just rapier. If you don't have a rapier, I would recommend definitely killing dragons with that polypore staff. You need 80 magic, I think, for it, so it's not even. Oh my god, Jagex, you freaking asshole. This should never happen where all 3 of those are down. I don't want to run to the south one, or the north one. It's not even up, is it? Oh, it's up. That's so far away. I'm not even going to make it with my energy. Okay, anyways, back to Slayer. So yeah, definitely use the polypore staff if you have something like steel dragons and iron dragons if you don't have any rapier. Because rapier is the number one thing you actually need to get. Was that the real Buzzy? Fucking nerd. Anyways, yeah, like if you don't have rapier, do not do iron dragons or steel dragons or any of that crap, because it's really slow. If you have a whip, I guess that's the one thing I'd recommend too. For sure, get a rapier, guys, before you start slaying. If I were to rate a rapier versus using cannon, because they both cost money to slay with, for sure I would just say go and get dungeon tokens. If you get 81 DG just for the rapier and the bone crusher or some shit like that, definitely just keep DGing a little bit more. You're gonna probably want 99 one day anyways. Just like 200k DG will save you almost 2 mil if you think about it that way, right? Because the way you recharge your rapier, it's 100%. It's 100%. It'll cost you 2 mil to do that, or it'll cost you 200k at 1.8 mil or 18k tokens, which is not, I think, or is it 20k, something like that, just around there. I used to charge my rapier with points, I'll admit, because I had 1 million engineering tokens, and now it's 200 mil. I left that just for fixing my rapier while I slayed during the summer and shit. I didn't really care. I know it's kind of lost XP, but I'm not that rich. I don't have 2 mil to spend on a rapier every single day. I don't even profit that much from Slayer, because freaking Abyssal whips are nothing now, and I hardly even do Abyssal demons. I never did them really before, but they are kind of worth it for the Crimsons. But if you're gonna be camping caves, you might as well not even worry about the charms while you're slaying, because you get a lot from caves anyways. That's really all I can say. I mean, yeah, overloads they're completely overpowered, or not overpowered. Well, they are overpowered, just like extremes, but overrated. They are just. I don't know why some people think that they need them. Like us higher level players only slay with overloads because we all have high herbivore XP anyways. Like all those maxed out people want 200 mil everything, yeah. Well, we have like 20k overloads because we have like 100 mil herbivore. That's why we slay with overloads. We might as well, because we don't boss hunt. We're not going to use those in anything else. So we just end up doing Slayer with it, right? You might as well. It's a little bit better, but it's hardly. I can't even notice it. I pulled out a good 900k Slayer in a day with just extremes, and I pulled out a nice 900k Slayer with overloads one day. There's no difference. I didn't play any more time than I would normally. Make me sound like I play 19 hours a day every single day. But yeah, anyways, it's not a difference. Um, I just talked about Slayer for 10 minutes. Um, Other tips, definitely. I guess since the way I got my thing, like since I started this new account, number one thing to do, um, I would say if you're just starting Slayer from scratch, definitely get 80 combat as soon as possible. Get your prayer up, get your summoning up. Camp, camp. Wow, Greater Demons in the wild. They give amazing crimsons. I know I just died in them in my Slayer video, but you won't lose anything if you're low level anyways. You'll lose like 1k cannonballs or some shit. Camp some Dagonoths if you want at the starting, just for the gold charms, just to get it up quickly before you start using crimsons. Because you need like 30 something when you start using crimsons. But anyways, so that's how I started, and then my first thing I bought was obviously the Slayer helm. Now, the Slayer helm isn't the most important. Well, it is the most important, but it's kind of overrated. Like when you're in that Slayer dungeon, oh my god, for the after you do smoke and kills, that dungeon there, I forget what it's called, but it's in the desert. That one, yeah, with the cannonable aberrant specters and shit. You can just use a nose peg when you're in there. Since your cannon does most of the work anyways, you really don't need to have a high strength bonus and a Slayer helm on or anything. You can still wear a nose peg and you won't die in there as long as you mage spray. So that's I don't know, I guess a tip for you guys. Wow, I thought I was fishing again. Wow, lol, not fishing. Oh my god. But anyways, so that's definitely something that people think it's like the most important. I would say Slayering is really important as well. It gets you to all those places easily without even having to try. Um, I use it for obviously checking the kills, which you can use with the gem as well. But you can teleport to Poly Vinch, which is where I cancel my tasks, and then I use NPC contact for the 110 combat Slayer Master, and stuff like that. I mean, those are just kind of like extra stuff. You really don't need that. You can use a ferocious ring to Curadel if you have enough ferocious rings, or you can use that BJQ method, like I said. BJQ, blowjob, cutie. Yeah, that's what it stands for. I don't know why they would ever start with BJ. Like, come on, Jax, dirty fucks. Freaking mod Slayer, man, I'm telling you. Anyways, that was probably just a troll for the higher level people. They know exactly who mod Slayer is. But horny mother. Anyways, so that's the tip I can give you guys. There really isn't much else about Slayer. I mean, canon is really important. I'll admit, but if I never not slaying on number one boss, I would get about 150k Slayer in a day without canoning anything, and I played about 8 hours maybe. Well, more than 8. Well, no, I played like 6 to 7 hours to be honest during the summertime. And yeah, I was pushing just about 800 or 150k Slayer a day, depending on the task. I hardly even skipped tasks back then, so that's like, I did Black Demons in the Chaos Tunnels with a Steel Titan. At first, I was using a Geyser Titan as well. It hit pretty well. Um, I was killing Dagonoths. I wasn't cannoning them. I was just attacking them. I killed the level 90 ones that do melee because they give you like 120 Slayer XP I think, which is really crazy. The ones that range you, they get very shit XP. They get like 76 or some crap. I don't even know. Yeah, that's really all I have for tips, guys. I'll have more in the future. Maybe I didn't really think about this video before I made it. I just said, hey, people are asking so many questions on this, so I'll just do this. I didn't have anything written down for me, so I can just be like, oh, okay, next topic. No, I just did it out of my ass. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Those were just a few tips. I'm still mining and super eating. I understand it's probably really boring to watch, but 200k till 86. I really want to get mining and superheating out of the way because it's really like one of the most boring things I could ever do. Agility is the next boring ass motherfucking thing to do, but you gotta do it pretty much. So superheating and mining is, I don't know, I just like it because I'm leveling so many things. I'm doing a little bit of Artisan's Workshop in between. At 86 smithing, actually, I can start getting my Varrock Plate Body 4. I just have to do one more quest, I think, and then a few more things. So that's pretty helpful. And look at that. I stopped Prayer after 95. Anything after that was just from Urns and Bone Crusher. Yeah, that's another thing, I guess. Dungeoneering things for Slayer. Number one thing, obviously, is a Reaper that you need. You don't really need a Maul. Maul is for Water Fiends if you do them, which most of the time you'll probably want a Steel Titan for those. Or you can cannon them in that other place where it's not really as good, but I guess it's kind of good. I don't really think you need a Steel Titan there because you can use a cannon, but then again, boom, cannon, you gotta waste more money. You don't really need an arcane steam necklace unless you do plan on maging those dragons and ice strikes and shit, which isn't really that inefficient anymore since there's just so many things you can gain magic off of, and since mining is a lot of it's actually covered by effigies and these urns, just made it 20% faster as well. And so yeah, if you're gonna do a little bit of magic, I guess you can obviously alch and do trees and shit, and you can alch your fish and whatnot. But if you're too lazy to do that, if you're gonna be doing rock tails or if you're gonna be doing ivy, then obviously you don't have that option. Then I would say start maging with polypore staff on dragons and mage ice strikes instead of meleeing them. I'll come out with a feature on how I'm gonna be meleeing them and maging them if you guys want to see that. Herbicide, definitely not really needed. I don't have one now. It doesn't really affect anything. It just saves you a little bit of money for herbivore, maybe like a few mil after 99 Slayer, because of the Aberrant Specters. But if you do want to make money as well, Aberrant Specters is great for money, especially since now that herbs are a lot more money. I used to do those for money as well. I used to I used to bring a yak and just a cannon, and I would make money off that task using a cannon. I would just bank every few minutes, 30 herbs in my yak and like 20 in my inventory. Leave my cannon there, and I'd run back and I'd reshoot the cannonballs and etc. etc. Pretty good money. I think I made just as much as I would off blue dragons actually at that task. Anyways, wow, 16 minutes. Okay, next thing, bone crusher needed, rapier needed, maul not really, arcane not really. You're gonna probably want it if you're gonna start maging. Um, Crossbow you never need. Longsword, eh. I really don't need a longsword. I think rapier is just as good. If you're gonna be camping caves, I see people use rapier. I see people use CLS. I don't really know. I think they're both pretty much just as good as each other. I don't really know. I mean, I guess probably I would say CLS for cave crawlers, but I don't know. If you're only gonna camp caves for like 5 effigies, don't bother getting a chaotic longsword. If you're already 99 DG and you don't ever plan on leveling it again, then don't bother getting like 101 or some shit just for the CLS. It's not really worth it. Just get the 5 effigies with the rapier. You'll lose maybe like, I don't know, 20 minutes of your time in total or some shit. I don't know. 17 minutes. Okay. Well, I think that's a good video for today. Give you guys a lot of tips and tips from a pro. How do you guys like that? Get at me, bro.